So, Michael, it's not rocket science, is it? You got rid of a guy who was one of the most democratically elected prime ministers of all time. Then you got rid of somebody who the Conservative members had actually voted for, and you replaced them with just a posh lad who has never really won anything.
Well, I suppose that's one way of putting it, Patrick. But look, I'm not quite as depressed as some people might say, but then that's because I'm always pretty cheery. Look, as Olivia said just now, it was a very bad result indeed for the Conservatives. There's no doubt about that. But we know that by-elections are a time to protest. The reason why Labour shouldn't be too cocky, whatever they might say, is that this time there weren't many switchers. In other words, we didn't get many Conservatives voting Labour at all. What they did do, which is still very worrying for the Conservative Party, is stay at home and not vote. Now, Olivia posed the question, how can the Conservatives win? Well, I think we can win by delivering. We've done a lot of talk. We've done a lot of legislation, but so far it hasn't meant much difference on the ground. So Michael, I think once we actually start to deliver, if we start to deliver, then we will deserve to get that Conservative vote. Right. Is not prepared to vote for Neil Kinnock. Neil Kinnock? Not prepared to vote for Keir Starmer.
Look, to be fair, they probably wouldn't have voted for him either. But yeah, no, they did, unfortunately, though, for what you just said there, is it's not quite as simple as they all stayed at home, is it? A lot of them did go out and vote for reform, who want to do things like turn the boats back, for example, and have quite a few other, I don't know, should we say, well, true Conservative policies, in a way, if it's as simple as that. So, you know, the answer is staring Rishi Sunak in the face, isn't it? Just be a Conservative.
Yeah, he's got to deliver. I mean, one thing I don't think we want to do is change leadership right now. I mean, do a coup d'etat while the poor man is abroad trying to sort out the Middle East. But yes, he's got to deliver. You know, we've got to get those flights going off to Rwanda to deter any more people from coming across on their boats. I mean, we've already done this marvellous deal with Albania, which has meant that 10,000 people who were going to come over to the UK from Albania haven't done so. But there's a lot more to be done. People have got to feel better off. People have got to see that the NHS is working. Yes, there are lots of reforms in the pipeline, but they've got to actually happen. But, you know, I don't think there'll be a general election in January 2025, though there could be. But, you know, a year from now is a long time to start delivering. And when people are asked, well, what do you think Keir Starmer believes in? They just don't know.
Well, he's Tory light, isn't he? I mean, he's deliberately trying to be Tory light. And the Tories...
I think he's deliberately trying to be absolutely nothing, actually. He doesn't want to offend Labour, and he doesn't want to offend the Conservatives or anything. What he is not is Tony Blair. I mean, we used to joke that the anagram of Tony Blair was Tory Plan B, and Conservatives did switch in their hundreds of thousands to vote for Tony Blair, thinking that he was a real alternative who would deliver, actually, a Conservative agenda. Nobody thinks that of Keir Starmer. I mean, people find him hard to like, which is probably a little unfair, but the truth is they just don't know what he stands for. Yeah. And as I say, there are very few people switching to him. Some people did, through frustration, vote for reform and Richard Tice, but not in huge numbers. I mean, I'll state the obvious. I mean, the people who voted for UKIP and the people who voted and might vote for reform would actually just simply let Labour in.
Well, they would, but I think the biggest loser in all of this, unfortunately, is just the British voter. Because if what you've described there is true, which is that, you know, Rishi Sunak is not necessarily at the moment appealing to a lot of true Conservatives, and they haven't got anyone to vote for. And Keir Starmer as well, you know, if he is really just not standing for that much and not offering a huge amount, certainly in the personality stakes. And again...
Well, we've got to deliver, Patrick. We've got to deliver, Patrick.
But you've got to deliver quick. You might have to deliver it. You've said that you won't want to deliver a new leader, but I just wonder whether or not, just finally, Michael, you really do now more than ever regret getting rid of Boris Johnson.
I've always regretted getting rid of Boris Johnson. I fought hard to keep him. We were mad to do it. But it could be worse. We could be between Biden and Trump, and that really would be grim.
OK, Michael, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. So Michael Fabricat there.